Amazing call exposed, flight grounded after surprising 2-minute encounter with teen's truth. Jamie stepped into O'Hare International Airport, the sprawling terminal buzzing with a frenetic energy that contrasted sharply with her own internal chaos. She felt as if she were trapped in a bottle, heart racing, throat tightening as her fear of flying clawed at her resolve. Each footfall felt heavier, the weight of her father's hard work pressing down on her like a millstone around her neck. He had sacrificed everything for her future, a factory worker whose tired hands were stained with grease and grit. This interview was her chance. If she found a way to conquer this fear, maybe she'd be able to repay him a fraction of what he'd given to her. But as she moved closer to the gate, anxiety swelled in her chest. Voices around her blurred into a cacophony of worries. What if the plane crashed? What if she failed to impress them? The very thought sent a jolt through her. She grasped her backpack, hoping the fabric would ground her, but it was no substitute for a solid grip on her spiraling thoughts. The boarding call echoed in her ears, pulling her from her daydreams of safety. She inhaled sharply, a primal instinct compelling her to flee. As she settled into her window seat, the reality of her circumstances hit her hard. Beyond the aircraft's thin metal skin was a world of uncertainty, her future, her father's hopes, and now, a sinister whisper floated through the cabin. Two airline employees, huddled near the galley, their heads bent low, were engaged in secretive conversation. "Something's wrong with the wings," one murmured, her eyes darting like shards of glass. "We shouldn't even be airborne." Frozen, Jamie's breath hitched, heart pounding wildly as their words twisted the safety of the flight into something dangerous. Should she alert someone? She fought desperately against the rising tide of panic. Her ambition clawed at her. This college was everything. Would risking her chance, opening her mouth, only lead to trouble? The internal battlefield raged, integrity versus ambition, truth against silence. Each tick of the clock echoed like a countdown, pressing closer to a moment of decision. Before she could lose herself fully in despair, a familiar face appeared, a flight attendant she had admired since childhood. "Jamie? Is everything okay?" It was Maria, her mom's old friend, and the kindness in her gaze melted some of Jamie's unease. The inkling of familiarity broke through the fear, igniting a flicker of courage long since hidden beneath layers of anxiety. "Maria, I overheard something," Jamie stammered, every word weighing her down further. "It's about the plane, something's wrong." At that moment, chaos erupted. The flight was grounded, murmurs swelling into a tempest of confusion and concern, as the weight of Jamie's voice resonated throughout the cabin. She didn't just share a secret, she sparked a wave of unrest, a digital ripple across social media. "Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." But suddenly, Jamie found herself engulfed in a storm of questioning. The same voices of concern now reflected accusations, shifting blame and exposing her. Was this worth it? Her uncertainty flared within her, igniting waves of self-doubt. What had she sacrificed in pursuit of integrity? The stakes were higher than she'd imagined, shadows darkening the path ahead. As she glanced around, her sense of self began to fray. Staring into the uncertain faces around her, she understood the gravity of what she had set in motion. Just as the murmurs contorted, twisting into something more profound, she felt the weight of something else, something deeper, her family's struggles entangled with this corporate plight. Jamie could hear her heart thundering against the cage of her ribs. The clock was ticking, and destiny teetered on a knife's edge. Would she slip quietly back into incognito, or rise to face the tempest? The noise of the terminal faded away, replaced by a deafening silence that engulfed Jamie. Questions cascaded through her mind like an avalanche. Had she done the right thing? The initial rush of bravery threatened to collapse under the weight of doubt. Voices around her morphed from supportive figures to accusatory whispers, each taunt slicing through her resolve. Who does she think she is? A woman murmured, while another passenger shot Jamie a look of disbelief. Every glare felt like a spotlight exposing her vulnerabilities, tearing apart the fabric of bravery she had managed to weave just moments before. She had sworn this would be her moment of triumph, but instead, it transformed into a potential nightmare. Maria moved closer, reassuring her with a nod. "We'll take care of this, Jamie. You did the right thing." Yet, as comforting as Maria's words were, they did little to quell the storm raging within. Jamie's gut twisted, grappling with the potential consequences of her actions. Was she now a whistleblower or simply a scared teenager caught in a web of speculation? Moments passed, feeling like hours, as the chaos slowly simmered down to a simmering tension. An officer arrived, a calm presence amidst the escalating emotions. "We need to ask a few questions," he said, turning to the gathered passengers. Jamie's heart raced. This felt like the moment she had both yearned for and dreaded. The officer approached her, and Jamie's mind churned. She was about to reveal her thoughts again. Her hesitation might betray her inexperience. "I overheard," she started, her voice shaky. "The flight attendants were talking about the wings. They said something is wrong." The admission felt like a staggering leap into a chasm, her stomach dropping with the weight of it. A murmur spread through the passengers, their eyes now focused intently on Jamie as if she were the axis around which their fate spun. The officer surveyed the crowd, maintaining a steady demeanor. "Thank you for your honesty. Your courage to speak up is what will help us ensure everyone's safety." Jamie's pulse quickened in response to the praise. It was validation that she hadn't just acted on a whim. There was value in her choice to confront her fear, in laying the truth bare even at the cost of her comfort. The situation unfolded in phases, checks, slight delays, and murmurs about what to do next. Each tick of the clock surged with unresolved tension, but deeper inside, Jamie felt herself rising. She was more than a scared girl, she had stepped beyond her limits. As the tension in the cabin simmered, a man in an expensive suit slid into the seat beside Jamie. Despite the chaos around them, he radiated an odd calmness. "Well done," he whispered. "Truth isn't always welcomed, but it's essential." Her eyes widened. Never had she expected an acknowledgement from a stranger. "Thank you," she managed, the warmth of a smile breaking through her trepidation. It was a soft reassurance that echoed a point damn near lost amidst the turmoil. She could be a catalyst for change. With each heartbeat, Jamie wrestled with the latent power she felt burgeoning along her spine, igniting a spark of purpose that had been dormant until now. As the officer began dismissing passengers, Jamie resolved to take this experience as a rite of passage, a turning point. Her fear of flying hadn't vanished, but it had shifted. It became a manageable thread in her growing tapestry of resilience. Yet, even as she caught her breath, the question loomed: what did this insight mean for her aspirations? "Hey," Maria's gentle voice broke through her reverie, "are you okay?" "I think so. I mean, I feel different. I don't know if it's good or bad. Only you can decipher that. But just remember, this is a big step. Facing that fear might have unlocked something within you." Jamie stared out the window at the tarmac. She saw the planes, each uniquely poised for a journey, juxtaposed against her internal flight towards self-discovery. But the path forward was still shrouded in ambiguity. As she contemplated her next move after this momentous day, the future seemed uncertain but no less enticing. Just then, Maria lowered her voice, urgency creeping into her words. "Jamie, there's something I need to show you. It's about your father's past. You deserve to know." With those words, an entirely new narrative unfurled in Jamie's mind, one that threatened to redefine everything she thought she knew about her family and herself. Jamie sat back in her seat, the tension still buzzing within her like static electricity. Maria's revelation felt monumental. What could there be about her father that would so profoundly affect her understanding of herself? She shifted, physically and mentally, grappling with the implications while feeling the weight of her recent actions pressing against her chest. "Are you sure it's the right time?" Jamie's voice was small, a thin veneer covering the torrent of curiosity and apprehension brewing inside her. Every instinct told her that the time for reckoning had arrived, not just regarding the mystery of her father's past, but regarding her own identity as well. Maria nodded, her resolve unwavering. "We've had the talk before, Jamie. Just trust me. It's important." With hesitant determination, Jamie took a deep breath, searching for the elusive courage she had summoned moments earlier. "Okay, tell me." Maria leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "Your father wasn't just a pilot, he had issues with authority. It affected his career, his life, our life." Jamie furrowed her brow, confusion mingling with the simmering anger she had often felt towards her father. "What do you mean? He never talked about it." "That's the thing, he didn't talk, and I think you deserve to know why." Maria's eyes locked onto Jamie's, revealing a depth of concern that both intimidated and motivated her. "His decisions shaped us. Understanding that can help you understand yourself." This revelation ignited a fierce curiosity within her as complex emotions fought for dominance. Jamie had idealized her father as a figure of authority, strong, skilled, and infallible. To hear he had flaws, that he had battled personal demons, opened a door she had never envisioned. "So, you're saying he was what? Rebellious? Did he get into trouble?" The questions flooded from her lips before she could steady them, each one a bead in the necklace of her father's identity that she wished to unravel. Maria sighed, "Not just trouble, Jamie. He believed in questioning things, which is why he had difficulty being a part of the system. He wanted to challenge the status quo, and that attitude didn't sit well with the establishment." The word sparked something in Jamie, an unsettling excitement mixed with dread. Part of her admired the idea of dissent, of challenge. After all, hadn't she just stepped into her own fight against complacency? Every choice she had made, every fear she had faced, echoed her father's spirit. She was drawn into a deeper reflection, a resonance she had never considered. "Did this lead him to leave us?" Jamie asked, her voice wavering, the weight of this new knowledge pressing down hard on her chest. Maria hesitated. "It's complicated. His inability to conform put a strain on everything. But you shouldn't carry that burden. You're not responsible for his choices, Jamie." Yet, the thought of becoming trapped in the cycle her father had fallen into gnawed at her. "What if I am like him? What if I have that same passion to disrupt?" "Then embrace it. But don't let it take you down the same path. You have the chance to carve out your own identity." Maria's eyes softened, a comforting expression that offered both support and a cautionary tone. Jamie's heart pounded at the notion of boldness infused with wisdom. She couldn't ignore the call of her father's legacy. He had fought the system in small ways, while she had just begun to do so in her life. "I don't want to be reckless," Jamie said, the internal conflict palpable. "But how do I walk this line?" Maria smiled, the warmth in her expression pulling Jamie from the shivering depths of doubt. "Step by step. Knowledge is power, and understanding the past is your foundation. Don't let fear steer your course. Use it as a compass to navigate what you believe is right." As they spoke, the plane's engines revved, preparing for takeoff. Jamie felt the vibrations course through her, and for the first time, it felt less intimidating and more invigorating. As the cabin lights dimmed, her thoughts tangled with anticipation. What pathways would she discover as she leaned into this newfound knowledge? What truths about her father and, most importantly, herself remained unexamined? Those questions lingered like starlight against an infinite sky, but the time for answers was drawing closer. They would take flight into a world laden with uncertainty, but Jamie felt an unfamiliar strength swelling within her, urging her to confront both her lineage and her ambitions head-on. "Just remember, you can only move forward by facing who you are," Maria said, glancing at Jamie with a shared understanding. And as the aircraft surged into the sky, Jamie grasped the edge of her seat, feeling the blend of fear and exhilaration. A revelation hurtled toward her, one that would test the boundaries of her courage. The flight had only just begun, but the critical question crystallized in her mind: would she honor her father's legacy by embracing the messy complexity of truth, or await the safety of indifference? The moment stretched on, almost surreal, but the dawning realization was unmistakable. The real journey was unfolding inside her, one that demanded every ounce of bravery she had yet to muster. What would she choose when faced with the pressure of her past and the possibility of a future defined by her own ambitions? As the plane ascended, Jamie felt a potent blend of emotions swirling within her: confusion, anger, but most of all, determination. Each moment seemed to thrum with potential, as if the very air around her crackled with possibilities. She hadn't expected to be thrust into the depths of her father's struggles, and yet, here she was, confronted with the reality of his imperfections. It was more than just personal curiosity now. It resonated with her own feelings of defiance, a growing urge to break free from the constraints that had shaped her life thus far. What would that mean for her? Would embracing her father's spirit of resistance draw her into a web of chaos, or would it offer her the freedom she craved? In the midst of her turmoil, Jamie turned to Maria. "What if I keep searching for answers and they just lead me to a path of rebellion? The more I dig into this, the more questions I have." Her voice trembled slightly, revealing the trepidation that mingled with her excitement. Maria regarded her with a steady gaze. "Search, but don't jump blindly into confrontation. Knowledge is your ally, not your enemy. Your father may have fought the system without a plan, but you have the chance to be strategic." As the flight leveled out, Jamie envisioned her future unfolding with deliberation. The moments in her life that felt stifling could become stepping stones for something greater. She imagined carving her niche a place where she could honor her father's spirit while avoiding the misstep of becoming engulfed by it. Armed with renewed resolve, Jamie began developing a mental map of what her next steps could be. She needed to reevaluate her aspirations, perhaps even redirect them. She recalled moments in her life where she had silenced her voice, choosing to blend in rather than stand out. The thought gnawed at her. What if the path forward was not simply about disrupting the established order but shaping a new response to it thoughtfully and deliberately? The more she contemplated her trajectory, the clearer it became: embracing her father's complexity did not have to swallow her whole. Instead, it could fuel a renaissance, a merging of values and ambitions that aligned with her own ethical compass. But doubt still lingered at the edges of her confidence. What if I fail? What if taking this risk leads me nowhere? She posed, her thoughts racing through scenarios. Failing isn't the problem, the real danger is in not trying at all, Maria replied, her voice low but firm. You must grant yourself the room to explore and evolve. Take solace in the fact that learning from failure is itself a pathway to strength. Jamie nodded, feeling a surge of determination ignited by those words. It was a subtle but powerful shift. A new horizon was emerging, one she felt compelled to pursue. Yet, it wasn't merely about rejecting her father's past, it was about understanding her own heritage in a way that transformed it into a source of empowerment rather than shame. Suddenly, the cabin lights flickered, and an announcement echoed through the plane, breaking her contemplative reverie. An unexpected storm was brewing at their destination, complicating their arrival. The implication sent a ripple of anxiety through the cabin, and as her heart raced, Jamie felt her resolve both challenged and fortified. The impending turbulence mirrored her internal chaos, amplifying the emotions she had been grappling with. Would she be able to navigate the storm ahead, both in the skies and within herself? The stakes felt higher than ever. As the plane rocked gently in response to the atmospheric shifts, Jamie took a deep breath. She understood that embracing her father's spirit meant she had to confront both the turbulence of her past and the uncertainties of her potential future. The dual essence of celebrating where she came from while forging a unique path grew louder, echoing within her. Despite the disarray outside, everything inside her pushed toward clarity. The journey ahead could lead to grounding in her identity or a plunge into unknown depths. Jamie clenched her fists, ready to take the reins, to be the architect of her own life, a life that would neither turn a blind eye to her father's legacy nor allow it to dictate her actions. Then, a thought struck her, compelling and sharp. Who would she be if she walked into this potential storm with clarity and purpose instead of fear? No longer did she want to be defined by someone else's legacy, she craved to illuminate her path while honoring the lessons learned along the way. But would she embrace this potential, this tumultuous journey of self-discovery, or shrink back into complacency, letting the winds of uncertainty decide her fate? With turbulence brewing in both the skies above and within her, Jamie resolved to confront the next chapter of her life with intention. Little did she know how the answers to her questions were stirring just ahead, waiting for her to rise, soar, or perhaps, to crash. And when faced with the storm, would she find her footing, or would it sweep her away entirely? As the plane dipped sharply in response to a gust of wind, Jamie braced herself against the armrest, a flicker of fear threading through her thoughts. In that moment, the noise of the storm outside became a clear metaphor for the tumult she felt within. It was a reminder of the chaotic world her father had navigated. She couldn't allow herself to be swept away like a leaf in the wind. The time for action had arrived, and she had a choice to make about how to move forward. Slipping into a more composed state, Jamie shifted her focus from the external turbulence to her own internal storm. Each breath steadied her resolve, slicing through her anxiety. She needed to commit to exploring her father's fight while also charting a course that reflected her values. A new realization took root: her journey was not merely about understanding his choices but also about redefining what those choices symbolized for her own future. Whatever her father's intentions had been, they had led her to this now. She could explore those truths and forge new meanings aligned with her identity. The memory of Maria's earlier words resonated powerfully within her: knowledge is your ally, not your enemy. The epiphany hit her with the force of the turbulence jolting the aircraft. She envisioned memories of her father's script, the fleeting glimpses of protests, debates, and the fervor of his voice as he engaged in dialogues that mattered. But visions of her own standing were not just echoes of his, they were an invocation of her own burning desire for change. As the plane finally leveled out, a type of stillness settled in, despite the storm still raging outside. Jamie's mind pivoted toward practicalities. How could she begin to unearth these hidden truths? Power lived within her existing circles. Her career in journalism could lend itself to investigating her father's past, uncovering stories that had shaped his resistance. She pictured the probing articles she could write, an exploration of narratives interwoven with historical context rather than a mere retelling of the past. But this newfound clarity didn't erase her doubts. What if she faltered in her quest? The thought of stepping into a world rich with complexity and seemingly infinite contradictions paralyzed her momentarily. Just then, the flight attendant's soothing voice pierced her anxieties. "We will be experiencing some turbulence, but please remain calm and seated." It was as if the universe itself had chosen this moment to challenge her resolve, to reaffirm the struggle she was ready to face. Jamie took a steadying breath. Whatever awaited her on the ground, blue skies or storm clouds, she wouldn't back down. Her heart swelled with ambition as she extracted strength from her fears. Every journalist had to confront opposing ideologies, and she would be no different. There could be no narrative of triumph without conflict. The truth of her journey would have to include the struggles along the way. Feeling the plane soar steadily amidst its rocky flight path, clarity washed over Jamie. She would reach out to the activists her father had known, sift through archived accounts of his encounters, each connection presenting a potential breakthrough. Perhaps it wouldn't only be about exposing her family's history but about self-discovery, deciding what ideals she wanted to champion. Yet, in the depths of her anticipation, a vague unease remained. Would her father's legacy serve her as a foundation, or would it become an anchor, weighing her down? Doubt crept back in, as she wondered about the backlash she might face from those who knew him. Would they see her probing as a betrayal or as an opportunity? The path ahead was shrouded in both possibilities and pitfalls, and navigating them would require a depth of courage she had yet to test. Just as she was about to lose herself in that uncertainty, the airplane jolted again, and the voice of the captain echoed through the cabin, "We are preparing to land." Jamie's heart raced, not just with anxiety, but with a burgeoning excitement for the unknown. Landing marked the beginning of her new quest for answers, but also the precipice of confronting her fears. Would her eagerness redefine her story, or would it plunge her further into a tangle of complications? With her father's spirit echoing in her thoughts, Jamie couldn't help but wonder, as the plane touched down, was she ready for the truths waiting on the other side of the turbulence? As the wheels of the plane met the tarmac, the jolt reminded Jamie that she was no longer suspended in the air. Reality awaited, and with it, the responsibilities she had chosen to undertake. The mere fact of landing pressed against her spirits, yet a faint thrill coursed through her veins. She moved through the terminal almost mechanically, the pace quickening with each step. Once free from the confines of the plane, Jamie found herself in a world bursting with sounds and sights, the airport alive with conversations and laughter. Yet, the joyful chaos felt muted compared to the storm inside her. How to initiate this journey? Who could she speak to first? It was a cacophony of uncertainty, and she had to forge clarity from it. She reached for her phone and opened her notes. Her father's name floated in her mind, followed by the strands of memories, faces, places, events. She could start with the local activists who had known him. Their passion must have forged connections to truth. She made a mental list as she threaded her way through the crowd, navigating the shifting tides of human interest. The moment she stepped outside to the fresh air, she felt more grounded. It hit her a sensory explosion of possibility. The sun broke through the clouds, casting a beaming light on her path as if the universe were cheering her on. But was it encouragement or a mirage? With determination flickering in her chest, she walked towards the nearest coffee shop, needing the familiar comfort of caffeine to spark her thoughts. Settling at a small table, Jamie took her time sipping the steaming cup. Her mind rehearsed the conversation that loomed ahead, and once again, she confronted her doubts. She replayed Maria's advice in her head: knowledge is your ally. Could her resolve transform that knowledge into a form of power? What if she faced resistance instead? What if she wasn't adequately prepared for the complex narratives she might uncover about her father's life? The fear of rejection loomed larger than she expected. It was one thing to dive into the darkness of her past, another to confront the lingering shadows cast by her father's legacy. She scratched her pen across her notebook, jotting down names and contacts, even drawing tentative outlines of potential conversations about her father's journey. So many unknowns lay ahead, each decision was a choice to embrace or hesitate. With the pen in hand, Jamie pressed it against the paper. In her mind, every stroke was a testament to her commitment. She knew that facing these narratives could unveil hidden facets of herself, her values, her motivations. This felt more than a reclaiming of her father's story, it was an unveiling of her own identity. It was about capturing courage through investigation, not just for her father, but for what she stood for. As she started mapping out her first moves, her phone buzzed. A message from an old colleague flashed on the screen: a chance meeting with someone who had actively engaged with her father's cohorts. The opportunity felt serendipitous yet daunting, but Jamie couldn't suppress her curiosity. It was time to reach out, time to confront the ghosts of the past. With her heart racing, she was caught between moving into the future and lingering in the past. The coffee shop buzzed around her, but she was entirely focused on the decision looming over her. Sending that message could ignite a fulcrum of change. What if the reply reshaped her perspective, illuminated mysteries she had yet to understand? As she gathered her thoughts and courage, Jamie felt the familiar whirl of nervous energy. Was she prepared to uncover stories that might shift her understanding of herself? With a deep breath, she pressed send, a deliberate action bubbling with the weight of possibility. In that instant, Jamie not only stepped toward her father's history but embarked on her own narrative, a path laden with potential and peril alike. What responses would she receive? Were the shadows of her father's legacy more complex than she had ever anticipated? The uncertainty hung palpably around her, an invitation to venture forth into ambiguity. As she waited for an answer, Jamie could not help but feel that the real whirlwind of her journey was just beginning. Would the ghosts of the past stir, or would they fade away beneath the power of her determination? Jamie sat at the coffee shop, her fingers tapping rhythmically against the table, each beat a pulse of anxious anticipation. The sun beamed through the window, illuminating the remnants of unfinished pastries and discarded napkins, a stark reminder of how fleeting time was. She glanced at her phone again, as if willing it to buzz with the response she desperately awaited. An unsettling thought gripped her. What if this was just another dead end? Or worse, what if she realized things about her father that she could never reconcile with the man she had known? As she wrestled with her uncertainties, a memory surfaced, a long-forgotten lesson from her childhood. Her father once had told her that facing discomfort head-on was the essence of true growth. Those words had echoed in her mind over the years, often when she faced challenges that felt insurmountable. She needed that courage now. The very essence of her quest was about unearthing the complicated legacy of a man whose shadows loomed larger than life itself. Suddenly, her phone vibrated against the surface of the table, the noise shattering her introspection. Her heart raced as she snatched the device, ignoring the fluttering feeling in her stomach. The reply was short but impactful. Interested in meeting. Can you meet tomorrow? Jordan. Jamie's initial response was shock mixed with exhilaration. This contact had the potential to be a pivotal moment. Jordan, a name unfamiliar yet full of promise, felt like a key she had been waiting for, a way through the dense forest of her father's past. The commitment to follow through now weighed heavily on her shoulders. This was not just another inquiry. It was an invitation to confront the tangled truths about her father. Yet doubt crept back in. What if she couldn't handle the truths that lay ahead? What if Jordan revealed a side to her father she had never known? After a moment of inner turmoil, Jamie took a deep breath. She had already taken the first step by reaching out. She had nominated herself as an active participant in her journey. If there ever was a moment to dismantle the towering wall between her past and her present, it was now. A surge of resolve built within her. She typed a quick response, "Yes, I can meet." Where and when? The act of sending a message shifted something deep within her. It signified a commitment not just to the conversation but to her own quest for understanding. With a new sense of purpose, she remained in the moment, her mind racing with possibilities. What stories would Jordan share? Would they upend everything Jamie thought she knew, or would they provide clarity to the shadows she had been chasing? Her thoughts began to swirl again, deciding how to approach the conversation. She resolved to be direct, to ask the questions that had lingered in her mind for years. But she also wanted to create space for Jordan's narrative, to let the conversation flow naturally, to be receptive to unexpected revelations. This meeting could unveil the mystery surrounding her father's legacy, and perhaps, in the process, teach her something profound about herself. As she wrapped her mind around her upcoming meeting, Jamie found herself leaning into her own vulnerability, recognizing it as a strength rather than a weakness. Each step she took into this unknown territory was a step closer to understanding the man she had idolized yet longed to unravel. With each passing moment, the anticipation bubbled within her, feeding her excitement. The coffee shop buzzed around her, a stark contrast to her internal focus. This was not merely a meeting but a turning point. One that would either lead her closer to the truth or demand answers she wasn't ready to confront. Suddenly, the cafe door swung open, and Jamie's gaze flickered toward the entrance. A wave of uncertainty washed over her. What if this was the moment she had been waiting for? The time had come to face the complex narratives shaping her father's story head-on. Would she be resilient enough to manage the storm brewing at the intersection of her past and present? Deep down, Jamie understood what was at stake, a confrontation with her father's truth and, by extension, her own. The path ahead lay entwined with revelations waiting to be discovered, but the journey shouldered with peril. She had to prepare herself for the depths that lay beneath the surface. As she took a final sip of her coffee, a burning question emerged: could she handle the truth, no matter how unsettling it might be? The day arrived with an unsettling brightness, the sky seemingly taunting Jamie as she stepped out of her apartment. The chill in the air felt alive, mixing with an undercurrent of determination that manifested with every resolute step she took toward the cafe where she would meet Jordan. She played the potential scenarios in her mind, aware that once this conversation commenced, there would be no retreating to the safety of ignorance. Every sound around her, the rustling leaves, distant laughter, the hum of passing cars, echoed the rhythm of her heartbeat, rapid and sporadic. The nearby coffee shop loomed ahead, its inviting facade clashing with the tension building within her. Jamie approached the entrance like a soldier heading into battle. She needed to be prepared, mentally and emotionally, for the truths that might surface. As she pushed the door open, the scent of freshly brewed coffee engulfed her, temporarily dulling her anxiety. Scanning the room, her eyes landed on Jordan, a man seated in the corner, his demeanor calm and collected, an island of tranquility amid the bustling ambience. He was uniquely unassuming, almost ordinary, yet Jamie felt the weight of his presence as if he held the keys to a treasure chest buried within her father's past. Jordan looked up as she approached, an encouraging smile breaking the tension that had developed in the short walk across the room. Jamie mustered a smile in return, though it felt unsteady, as if her confidence was still assessing itself amidst a storm of emotions. They exchanged greetings, and she slid into the chair opposite him, suddenly hyper-aware of the stakes involved in what would soon follow. "So, I assume you're curious about your father?" Jordan initiated, his tone casual, yet laced with deeper understanding. The way he spoke revealed an underlying empathy, as if he recognized the burden resting upon her shoulders. "Very much so," Jamie replied, keeping her voice steady. "There's so much I don't know." Jordan nodded thoughtfully, his gaze sincere. "It's not just your father's past that you'll be uncovering, Jamie. It's your identity as well." His words struck her with force, revealing something she hadn't entirely articulated in her mind. She wasn't just seeking insights about her father, she was grasping for understanding of who she was in light of that legacy. The realization hung uncomfortably in the air. Would his truth shatter her perception of herself? "What can you tell me?" she asked, her resolve hardening. The time for hesitant circling around the subject was over. Her vulnerability was now a weapon poised to break through the facade. Jordan leaned back, a contemplative look in his eyes. "Your father was a complex man. He was deeply involved in things that people didn't know about, a side of him that he kept hidden." Each word sent jolts of electricity through her, igniting a mixture of dread and anticipation. What secrets could have been so significant that her father felt the need to conceal them? As she perched on the precipice of revelation, a deeper question emerged: would these truths transform the way she viewed her own life? Was he involved in something dangerous? That's what she wanted to know. How far did her father's secrets stretch, and could they encompass the very soul of their family? Jordan hesitated, making a calculation that felt palpable in the air. The moment unfolded like a delicate balance, each word weighing heavily. "It's not just about danger, Jamie. It's about choices that define a person." Jamie shifted in her seat, her impatience scalding her. This wasn't just a conversation, it was the beginning of a reckoning, a raw confrontation with the essence of her father that would reshape her understanding of everything she had accepted until now. Each piece had the potential to unlock a facet of her identity she hadn't yet contemplated. "Tell me everything," she urged, her voice firm with newfound determination. The fear that had once paralyzed her morphed into an active pursuit of clarity. As Jordan began to unfold the narrative, Jamie's pulse quickened, and with it, a rush of possibilities surged within her. Where would this discussion lead? Would she emerge from this meeting as a victim of her father's choices or a survivor of the legacy he had unknowingly bestowed upon her? Through every revelation, Jamie sensed that her understanding was not just of a man she loved, but of the complexities existing within her own spirit. As the conversation deepened, it became evident that the most daunting truths were yet to come. Would she be resolute enough to face the reality of who she might become? Just as the atmosphere thickened with the weight of Jordan's next words, a door swung open, the chime drawing their focus momentarily away. The crowd outside all but vanished, leaving Jamie teetering on the threshold between two worlds, the innocence of who she thought her father was and the truth slowly twining around her future. The stakes had escalated, and so had her resolve. What lay beyond this moment might be the most profound journey of her life, one that beckoned her not just to discover her father, but to redefine herself entirely. The tension in the cafe shifted palpably, a pulse that quickened with every second. Jamie's gaze remained fixed on Jordan, a mix of eagerness and dread swirling within her as he prepared to unveil her father's hidden life. The air was heavy with unsaid words, the atmosphere almost crackling with the potential for revelation. Your father, Jordan began, choosing his words with care, was involved in a world that many would label as criminal. He walked a fine line between protecting what he loved and engaging in actions that could put everything at risk. His voice held a quiet gravity, the kind that invited Jamie to lean in closer, to sit at the edge of her seat while a storm brewed within her. Each sentence was a step deeper into a darkened past, and Jamie felt trepidation mixed with an insatiable curiosity. What did he do? She pressed, the urgency of her question whipping through the tense silence. Was he involved in something illegal? Was he a criminal? The very idea felt foreign, thrumming a dissonant chord in her chest. Jordan's eyes narrowed slightly, an echo of compassion marring the weight of his next words. It's complicated. He made choices that were about survival. People don't always see the full spectrum of motivations behind actions. Sometimes, they only see the result. Those words struck at her core, prompting an unexpected fortress of doubt in her mind. If the man she had idolized had been caught up in this murky realm, who was she really? The dichotomy of her father's existence thundered within her. The loving image of him cooking dinners and telling her bedtime stories collided with this darker shadow she'd never known. What did he really think about what he was doing? She asked, her voice softened by the weight of despair. Did he believe he was justified? As she contemplated his choices, she also questioned the justification of her own, scrutinizing her desires to pursue the truth against the potential fallout of that pursuit. Your father believed he was protecting his family, Jordan revealed it in measured tones, each word carefully considered. But in doing so, he often damaged the very thing he fought for. There it was, the revelation that sliced through her, drawing parallels between her life and the choices her father once faced. Was that not the same struggle she faced now? To chase the truth, risking everything she cherished? In that moment, Jamie found herself grappling not only with her father's legacy but also with her own desire for authenticity. Could she step onto a path that risked shattering her old notions of family and safety? Each heartbeat seemed to echo like a drum, urging her to make a choice. What I'm trying to understand, she murmured, is how to reconcile what was wrong with what I thought was right. The struggle within her was real. It represented the complexity of human existence, the intersection of morality and survival, a complication she hadn't fully understood until now. Jordan regarded her thoughtfully, as if sensing her turmoil. This journey, Jamie, is as much about uncovering your father's truth as it is about discovering your own. You must define what you value and what you are willing to risk for those values. The clarity of his statement wrapped around her like a thread, binding her thoughts into a cohesive desire for growth. She knew now that, regardless of what came next, the revelations, the pain, the uncertainty, she was at a crossroads of her own making. Every legacy, for better or worse, needed reckoning, and only she could orchestrate her response to it. I'm ready. Ready to hear the rest, Jamie proclaimed, her voice steadied by an emerging clarity. It wasn't just her father's past that drew her in, it was the way that past intertwined with her own destiny. Just as she prepared for the next piece of the puzzle, a sharp noise cut through the cafe, the sound of something being dropped, as if the universe itself had conspired to interrupt the moment. Her heart raced not just with anticipation but with a bizarre fear winding its way through her gut. The stakes suddenly felt more immediate. What was that? She questioned, attention snapping toward the source of disturbance. Jordan's eyes flickered toward the door, an alertness breaking through the calm exterior he had maintained. Whatever it is, it could change everything, he said, the gravity of his words sinking in like stone. In that instant, all at once, Jamie understood, the shadows of her father's past weren't just secrets, they were potential dangers lurking in the periphery of her quest for truth. Whatever lay ahead, she was ready to confront no matter the chaos it might unleash. The cacophony in the cafe subsided as Jamie and Jordan exchanged uncertain glances. The gravity of the moment hung in the air, thick with unspoken fears. What had the sound signified? Were they about to unearth truths deeper and more perilous than anticipated? Maybe we should, Jordan began, but Jamie's resolve solidified. Her father's journey had always been shrouded in mystery, and she found herself unafraid of diving deeper into that abyss. No, Jamie said, a fierce determination igniting within her. I need to know everything, Jordan. I want to turn back now. With an approving nod, Jordan continued. Okay. The truth about your father, as I said, was complex. He wasn't just involved in something illegal, he was trapped in a world of moral ambiguity, where choices were often made in desperation. Jamie leaned forward, the urgency of his words compelling her to listen closely. He worked with local organizers fighting against corrupt systems, a revolutionary undercurrent that rarely saw the light of day. But things got tangled along the way, leading to choices he felt justified at the moment but were ethically dubious. The revelation felt like a mix of relief and turmoil. She was starting to comprehend the layers of her father's identity, but it also painted a complicated picture of her understanding of right and wrong, of family loyalty versus personal ethics. What kind of corruption? She asked, the questions flowing effortlessly now, propelled by her eagerness to piece together this fractured narrative. Jordan's expression darkened momentarily, a reminder of the consequences involved. The kind that surrounds power, the manipulation, the deceit. Your father believed he was helping genuine people caught in a system that would otherwise crush them. A wave of emotion swelled within Jamie, the tangled threads of admiration and disappointment intertwining violently. Although she struggled with the idea that her father had roamed those gray areas, respect for him burgeoned. He had not simply sought safety but instead dared to engage with the complexities of life. Did he ever regret it? She breathed, heart racing at the thought of a man grappling with moral conflict. Jordan hesitated, a shadow of concern crossing his face. In many ways, he hid his inner turmoil. To regret meant admitting vulnerability, which he felt would betray the mission he had fought for. Jamie swallowed against what felt like a lump in her throat. What clarity she sought was often entangled in confusion. It began to dawn on her that every story in the world carried its burdens, often unshared. These burdens defined the person she had idolized but also complicated her own journey toward self-discovery. Can you tell me about the moment things changed for him? Jamie's voice cracked slightly, sensing that understanding this catalytic moment could reshape her own outlook. With careful deliberation, Jordan's voice lowered, filled with intensity. There was a betrayal, a person close to him cracked under pressure and exposed details he thought safe. That marked the moment your father made a fateful choice out of fear and anger. The details hung in the air, a specter fluttering in the wing of their conversation. Jamie realized the moment represented not just a pivotal point in her father's life but was also a mirror reflecting her potential choices. She didn't want to tread a similar path. She had to map her own course without losing touch with the larger values she hoped to uphold. What happened next? She pressed, a steady resolve filling her heart. Jordan's expression shifted, punctuated by the knowledge that the story could reach danger closer than anyone might anticipate. Your father made a choice that put him at odds with powerful people he once considered allies. In his haste to secure safety, he pushed himself into a corner. Every word seemed to deepen the connection Jamie felt to her father, exposing the vulnerabilities that she had idealized from childhood. The realities of choice, its devastating consequences, were becoming clearer to her. She was learning that surrendering to fear could invite chaos. At that moment, the resolve crystallized in her heart. She would acknowledge her father's imperfections while grappling with her own emerging identity. She would carve a path that respected the struggle inherent in loving someone with a complicated history. "Jordan, I need to use this," she stated, conviction hardening her voice. "I want to explore how to tell my father's story without glorifying his mistakes or vilifying him either. This can be a re-examination of where we all find dignity amid complexity." He regarded her with an impressed respect, realizing how she was beginning to navigate her own journey of truth, a brave confrontation of legacy. "Just remember," he cautioned, "the reality isn't always what people want to hear. Some may not understand your approach, and it may cause friction." "Then I'll be ready to defend those truths," Jamie replied, feeling firm on her ground. Her journey was about more than uncovering her father's past. It was also about fearlessly embracing her role as the storyteller. The conversation hummed with urgency as Jamie's determination peaked. "Tell me everything you know about the people he worked with, the good, the bad, everything." As she leaned into this exploration of her family's tapestry, Jamie began to feel the thrill of wielding her words like tools. The short-lived sound from the cafe door had transformed from a mere distraction into the catalyst for her future. All the doubt and uncertainty that had plagued her began to dissipate, replaced with clarity. Pieces of her father's life converged with her quest, melding into the purpose she sought. Truth might be tangled, but it was also powerful. With each revelation, Jamie understood she was embarking on a path forward both shrouded and illuminated by her father's experiences. She might not know where that path would ultimately lead, but one thing was clear: she was finally ready to navigate her legacy and, in doing so, lay the foundation for her own identity. It was this merging of the past and future that was beginning to reshape not only her understanding of her father but also the very core of herself. And as they sat together, she became acutely aware this journey would demand her as much as it would honor her father, not just as his daughter but as a unique storyteller fueled by the truths she'd discover along the way, finally poised to conquer her fears. The truth of Jamie's awakening was that she had now stepped onto her own path, a journey fortified by understanding, acceptance, and commitment to those deep complexities that weave through every meaningful life. And as she stood at the precipice, the fear that once ensnared her began to feel distant, transformed into a source of strength guiding her forward. This could only be the beginning. It was time for Jamie to forge ahead into the unknown, armed with the legacy of the man who shaped her existence, a legacy imperfect but rich with lessons waiting to be unveiled. Not only was she ready, she was eager to face whatever truths awaited. When the dust settled and her father's story was finally told, could it also illuminate who she was always meant to be? This was the question that propelled her into the future, a future sparkling with possibility. The revelations, hidden within layers of family history and the spirit of resilience, beckoned her onward. Now standing at the threshold of her next chapter, Jamie took a deep breath, ready to embrace her journey as both a daughter and a pioneer of her own resolute truth. If you found this emotional journey of Jamie's transformation inspiring, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for our channel. Don't wait even one more second to share this riveting final chapter with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep our stories thriving. Comment below with your reactions and theories. Your voice matters.